You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Chip Gilchrist, voice of the Kingston Frontenacs. You're listening to OHL Overtime, an in-depth interview show highlighting the players, coaches, and broadcasters from around the Ontario Hockey League who make the league so great, as well as in-person coverage of events such as the OHL Playoffs, OHL Championship Series, OHL Combine, and more, exclusively on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Here's your program host, Brendan Caputo.
Welcome into another OHL Postgame Posse Roundtable right here on OHL Overtime in the Armchair GM Sports Network. Thank you to those that are tuned in live on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel and those listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. Brandon Caputo, Colin Ward from the OHL in 60 podcast, and Joel Vanderlaan are here to discuss Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series between the Oshawa Generals and the London Knights. Generals up 1-0 in the series coming in, and London takes this game by a 5-2 score, evening it up at 1 apiece, going back to Oshawa next Monday and Tuesday. Gentlemen, it was definitely, Oshawa got out to the lead again, and you're thinking, okay, is this going to be one of those games where Oshawa takes a 2-0 series lead on the road like they did in the conference final against Barrie? But, again, this London Knights team is 12-1 in the playoffs for a reason, Colin, and they showed why they could bounce back tonight.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me, Brandon. Pleasure to talk hockey with the boys. It should be a fun one. What a game. We got a series. We said it last show that the London Knights are going to come out hard in Game 2, and they did that. Obviously, they gave up the first goal, but I thought they had a good first period. I thought they responded well tonight. You heard in the post game, or you'll hear in the post game as well, that the Knights really responded. Oshawa had a dream start on the road. I think analytically, looking back at it, and it would be an interesting question here from Brad Malone post game. Analytically, I think that you would tip your cap. I think you had a better result tonight analytically. Even when you look at the stat sheet tonight, when you look at the stat sheet, you would think, maybe Oshawa deserved a better fate tonight than they did in Game 1 even. Other than 3 for 9 on the power play, other than the power play, I would say tonight maybe Oshawa deserved the better fate than they did in Game 1. So maybe that's a positive. That's why I think analytically on the Oshawa standpoint, you have a good start, and maybe you deserve better fate when you look back at it. And I would love to see that maybe on the bus ride home, and tomorrow when you debrief things and you go over the video and it's like, well, maybe we deserved better fate, and, you keep trucking. That's what the postseason is. You're going to have ups and downs, and I think that Oshawa had a good start to get the first goal. But let's be honest, the London Knights star players tonight came to play, and they needed to. We called them out last week, or last episode on the show. We said that they had to be better. They had to take over the game. They had to be better than the Oshawa Stars, who are playing phenomenal in the postseason so far. Callum Ritchie's on another level, which is scary to think Callum Ritchie could get to another level. But then, hey, Stars don't like being attacked by Stars. And we challenged Callum Ritchie. You see what he did? Easton Cowan. Saturday evening, May 10th. That was Easton Cowan World, and it was Easton Cowan Day in London at Canada Life Place, to put it mildly. I mean, he was really good tonight. I mean, he was fantastic.
Joel, Easton Cowan has now tied Rob Schremp for the most playoff points in London Knights history, and he's actually in the same stall that Rob Schremp used to don here at Canada Life Place, or Bud Gardens, back in the day. Pretty cool coincidence, and a pretty cool record for the 2023 Toronto Maple Leafs first rounder to have.
Yeah, I think Colin kind of hit the nail on the head there with the night that he had, and getting them back in the game with that big goal there late in the first period, using the screen, finding that CNI shot, and then from there London kind of took the life and kind of started to build their lead. And I think, to the credit of the London Knights, it was how they were going to respond tonight. Sam Dickinson +4, Easton Cowan 5 points +4, Oliver Bonk with just a ridiculous shot to score, and he was a +4 too. So it was how those big guys were going to respond for London on home ice, and they all did that. Sam O'Reilly, 50% on the faceoff dot, 14 for 28. So I think all those NHL drafted guys really stepped up, and it's a big reason this series is going back to Oshawa tied 1-1.
Oh, Joel, I know as a Flyers guy, you're excited to see Oliver Bonk with a +4, and he's really elevated his defensive game this year because people are going to look at the point total and say he took a step back, but I think that's something that maybe the Flyers organization wanted to see from him, and he's kind of tried to implement it here with the coaching staff, Colin. You can definitely see Oliver Bonk's, evolution as a great 200-foot player, not just a great offensive defenseman, which you see him on the power play, still in that bumper spot, but you can definitely see that his defensive game has really improved this season.
100%, Brandon. You're defending for a reason. You got to be getting your own end, and I mean, you can have all the points in the world, but if you can't defend, you're not gonna be the guy. You're not gonna be the guy that the Philadelphia Flyers draft you to be. Credit to Oliver Bonk, the character, the acceptance without a doubt, without any doubts, without any hesitation to play this role, to adapt his game in his final year of junior hockey before he makes a transition to pro hockey, and that's a credit to Oliver and the character he has. That's tough to do. That's one of the toughest things to do as a hockey player, especially as a young kid, like Oliver is. He's just a kid. He's 19 years old, and I think it's a testament to his character to be able to accept that. And hey, you got two good systems, right? Philadelphia, I know last year with Tortorella and the change there, but you have character there, Danny Briere, and the way you want to play a game. You have hey, Keith Jones. You have the guys there in the front office who want you to play a certain way, and you have the coaching staff in London with Dale Hunter with the pedigree he has, that they expect you to play a certain way, and when you play that way, you get rewarded. And I expect, honestly, Oliver Bonk to play on Philly next year. I think that the way he's played with the way he's accepted this character, maybe that was a challenge from Philadelphia. Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe that's one of those discussions. And I know, Joel, with yourself, with the Belleville Senators, you have these conversations with guys when they go back to junior. It's not a bad thing. You go back, we give you a couple things, but maybe it's one of those things where you come back and you improve your defensive game. All of a sudden, you skip the American Hockey League and you go right to the NHL. And maybe that's what's happening with Oliver Bonk right in front of our eyes. Maybe it's the best thing that's happened for him, and I believe it is. I think his game, man, we all know how good he is offensively, but to see the defensive play, to see him block shots, to see how good he's been on the penalty kill, his side on the penalty kill, it's not Sam Dickinson on the Beckett Seneca side, it's Oliver Bonk. That's one of the best players right now in Beckett Seneca in the league, in this series. Beckett Seneca's the 3rd overall pick. He's going to be on Anaheim next year. He's going to be a star at the next level. And to see Oliver Bonk really neutralize Beckett Seneca to the best of his capabilities has been incredible to watch in this series. I am really excited to see what Oliver Bonk can do. He's a great kid. When you talk to Oliver Bonk, when you see Oliver Bonk have interviews, you see the smile he's got, right? And you see that swagger, that aura, as the kids say. You see that mentality that he has, and it's like this kid has that it factor. It's that thing that when the going gets tough and you're in adversity, he has that calming presence. And I know all the talk about Sam Dickinson, who is going to be on San Jose next year, who is a star. Oliver Bonk's right there with him.
Yeah, I think you touched on it, that blocked shot late in the game where the net's empty, and he keeps that lead for London. And I think there has, to both your credit, there is that maturation process where, okay, you gotta defend at a high level. You gotta show that maturity in your game, and points are great. And he still had 40 points in 52 regular season games. He's got 11 in 14 playoff games. So it's not like the points have drastically fallen off. He's still contributing. Like you said, he's on the bumper on the power play. But the defensive game's grown, which is what's going to help him to get to the next level, succeed at the next level. Because as we know, there's a lot of guys that can put up points in junior. They go to the
100%.
AHL, they go to the NHL, and it drops off. It's just so much harder to dominate as you get older and you get into those top leagues. So I think he's really taken those strides. And him and Sam Dickinson, what a pair! Like for Dale Hunter to continually put those guys out when you need to slow the game down. You need offensive. They can play in any situation, and it's just a special pair, and they're both special people, like you mentioned.
Well, it's a nice luxury to have when you have those two guys, future NHL studs, that you can just throw out whenever you want at will. Oliver Bonk, by the way, Brandon, 5th in points in the OHL playoffs, currently in the postseason. He's been great. And it's funny. I just want to mention one more thing, Brandon. Sorry. I think that the NHL has evolved so much, in pro hockey for that matter, has evolved so much. I remember just 10, 15 years ago where it was like, okay, this player's not playing in the NHL. He's stuck in the AHL because he can't skate. Now every single player can skate.
Mm-hmm.
Every player can skate. What else can you do? Okay, now now to play in the NHL, I believe you have to have three really good traits to be good. You got to be good offensively, you got to be good defensively, or good at in the face-off dot and be a good skater. Those three. I believe you have to have at least three good traits to play in the NHL full time. It's hard to make the NHL. I think this is a huge favorite, Oliver Bonk. I'm really excited. I think this kid, I wish his World Juniors, and in the World Juniors were what the World Junior was, but I wish he got used in a proper role, because I'm very upset that he never got the right views, the right eyes on him for the role that he was in at the World Juniors, because he's never played that role. So I wish that he was in a better situation there, because it really would have been a huge thing for Philly fans, especially, to be like, okay, we know what we got here, right? And I wish that his World Juniors weren't the World Juniors that was. I mean, running the power play is different than being on the bumper spot, but that is what it is. But very excited to see what Oliver Bonk can do.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk for days about the fumbles that Canada made at the World Juniors this year, but I'll digress from that. We'll get into it with the goals, guys. And I'll just go through it quickly. Callum Ritchie got it on the board, after the game-winning goal in Game 1 on the power play. Just a good net front there, and now the New York Islanders prospect, they got to be definitely happy with him, especially coming in with their first overall pick, whoever they're going to take. And then we had Easton Cowan scoring his first of 2 goals in the game. And that one, guys, that was just he gained the zone on the right wing. He kind of spun around, cut towards the slot, and took just a wrist shot up high. And there was 3 people standing in front of the net. Jacob Oster didn't see anything, and it just found the smallest hole up top over his shoulder for probably 3 goals tonight that, were really, goals that the slimmest of margins for the London Knights goes in. Joel, what were your thoughts on that goal, Easton Cowan goal?
Yeah, I think it's a goal scorer taking his opportunity. He sees that there's so much traffic in front of Jacob Oster, and tries the chance there, and he gets rewarded for it. So I think that's the kind of thing that London needed to get going, and Easton Cowan needed to get and start feeling that confidence. And after that, they kind of got on a roll, and definitely going into the intermission tied 1-1. That's a huge relief for London. I felt like after the Brusewicz penalty too, things and Ritchie scored, things could start to unravel. So Cowan putting the team on the back there and getting that game tied.
Yeah, for London to have that doubt, Colin, and be able to come back like they did after losing Game 1 and then giving up the first goal. They scored 3 unanswered, including, as Joel mentioned, 1-1 after the first. And in the second period was when London kind of blew it open with 3 goals. Sam O'Reilly was able to be Johnny on the spot there. Easton Cowan working it down low behind the net and finds him out front. And then Oliver Bonk, just taking a shot, coming off the half wall and going short side on Jacob Oster. Both of those goals short side, but that one, I didn't even think there was any room for him to put that puck. So those are the ways you're going to have to beat Jacob Oster, because he's looked like 2023 goaltender of the year, Jacob Oster, so far or lately in the playoffs. But talk about London being able to score 2 on him there.
Get to the net. Similar to the first goal, got to get to the net. I like the play from Cowan to O'Reilly off the wall, but behind the goal line there. Yep. That's a nice play. Go to the net. Similar to Crosby in 2010. Get it and shoot. And it's funny for me personally, being from the Bulldogs. In the series against Oshawa, Jacob Oster, majority of the goals were beat by him glove side. That's where you're going to beat him. And I think that you got to get to the net. You got to be in front of him. A good goalie don't like traffic. You got to create traffic. And I thought London did a better job at that tonight. Not to say they weren't bad in Game 1 on that. I thought analytically London was a better team. Even looking back at it the following day, I thought London was a better team in Game 1. Other than the penalties, I think London wins that game. 5-on-5, they were the better team. And I think tonight they got the opportunity. Tonight I do think Oshawa was better. And like I said, I don't really know yet. I'll look back at it tomorrow. But I think analytically Oshawa deserved better fate tonight. And I think that but London really found a way to score those, they were pretty goals. Don't get me wrong, they were pretty goals, but they found a way to get to the net. They found a way to create havoc around Oster, really getting his head a little bit, because a good goaltender don't like to be in their head. And I think with everything with Oster, the way he plays the game, you got to get on him. Doesn't give out a lot of rebounds, but you got to get on him. You got to get sticks in the lanes. You got to get tips, get deflections, create havoc. Oshawa has a lot of big defensemen. When you can box out and we can keep up and we can get them in front of Oster, that's an extra screen as well. You look at guys like Gibson, who is a big, solid player. Simon Wang, right? You look at their defense, there's a lot of length there. If you can get them in front of the net, too, you create more bodies, you create them in vulnerable situations, and that's how you find a way to score goals in playoff hockey. You're not going to score many pretty goals in the playoffs. Oliver Bonk scored a beauty, but you're not going to get many of those in the postseason. It's hard to earn goal by goal. It's hard to believe it was a 5-2 hockey. I know empty net, so 4-2, but it's hard to believe it was that type of game when you know how hard it is to score goals in the postseason. Like the inches are so hard to earn. Every single thing to get the puck over the blue line. You look at you look where the F2s are, the F3s on a penalty kill. I mean, you look at the penalty kill on the London Knights tonight against Oshawa. You look at the adjustment they made. That was incredible, the adjustment by the forwards, not the forwards by the London Knights. But I thought you get pucks to the net, you get on the net of Oster, and that's how you're going to be successful against Jacob Oster. You got to get on net, get bodies to the net. And I think honestly, glove side's kind of where you want to go right now.
Joel, when Oshawa was able to get it back within one there, with Luke Torrance being Johnny on the spot, when the puck kind of squeaked by Austin Elliott and he was able to put it in to make it 3-2, Callum Ritchie gets a point on that one as well. I think it was so big for London to get that fourth goal, because if Oshawa is able to tie this one up at 3 or even sometime in the third period, that backbreaking goal that we see London get all the time where a team tries to claw back in it and they respond. Easton Cowan cuts down the left wing, finds Jacob Julian for the goal, and it was tough because Beckett Seneca looked like he was about to intercept the puck and just kind of missed it on the stick attempt, and it went right to Jacob Julian, and he made no mistake on that with less than 2 minutes left in the period to make it 4-2. That one felt like it was the real backbreaker because Oshawa had just had a power play right before that as well, and then Seneca hits the goal post or the crossbar right before the end of the period. So, a couple momentum swings here and there, we could be talking about a different outcome.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that's kind of what we talked about after game one was the opportunities London kind of missed to put that game away or gain full momentum in game one, and they were able to do it here. And you talk about those goals late in periods and how much going into the break up or going into those moments with all that momentum and how much that can swing the game for you. And a great pass by Easton Cowan to Jacob Julian to squeeze that through. And anytime you can get the goalie moving side to side, it's going to be in your benefit.
Absolutely, and then we had the Easton Cowan empty netter late there, Colin, taking a shot from his own blue line, basically, or even in his own end, and then that one, bounces into the empty net for his 5th point of the night. But how did you like the way London played in that third period with the 2-goal lead?
Yeah, first off, shout out to Bulldogs head coach Jay McKee, who has me all over the analytic train. Percentages say for Easton Cowan and that to take it. You're up 2. The way London plays, you take the shot. So shout out to Bulldogs head coach Jay McKee on that one, who has me obsessed with the analytics on those.
Good Sabres alumni.
Oh yeah, there you go. I thought it was a character win. I think the third period, Oshawa shoots them 15-4. That's why I thought Oshawa deserved a better fate in the game. I think when you look back at it, I think tomorrow, if we were to talk to Brad Malone, he would say, okay, I think we actually deserve to win more in game 2 than we did in game 1. When you look at it, and other than the Stars coming out for London, just taking a game over, Oshawa played a damn good game tonight. And I think that's the way you got to look at it. It all came down to, and we talked about it with Oliver Bonk, the block shot there late by Bonk. That's how you win playoff hockey. That's how you're going to win games. That's how you're going to win in the postseason. London's battle tested. They've been here before. They've been here the last 3 seasons. They know what it takes. It takes a lot, and I think that London did a lot better job boxing out in their own end, 5-on-5, 6-on-5, or 5-on-6, I guess, for the Knights' standpoint. I thought they did a better job playing that, defending that system. And I thought they did a really good adjustment. I really did. They were ready to play. I know I called them out last game, but tonight they were ready to play. you could tell the game plan was right there from the get-go. I thought their checking guys played a heck of a game. When guys like Sam O'Reilly, Jacob Julian, who are heck of a players in the league, but when they're getting multi-point games like that, and also such good above-average defensive prospects for the National Hockey League and above-average defensive players in the Ontario Hockey League, that goes a long way. When those guys can get points in their roles that they are in to contribute, obviously, offensively, they chime in, but get in the face-offs, get in lanes, get defensive hockey. They take pride in their defensive game. And when you can do that, that's when you're going to be successful more often than not. And in that third period, when you block a few shots like that, it's contagious. You see Oliver Bonk block a big shot. You see guys on the third and fourth line laying out, blocking shots. It's contagious. And that's kind of what you saw tonight. And it's so and it really, like, not to overstate it, but it really is contagious. When you see a veteran player block a shot like that, young players, when they get their shift, they're thinking, man, I gotta get in lanes. I gotta do the same thing here. Body on the line, anything it takes to do for the team, for the city, for the fans, anything it takes to win. And London loves a winner. And that's what they got tonight. They played a winning championship mentality hockey. It's a mindset. You gotta buy in. And credit to them playing their system tonight in the third period. I thought Oshawa threw everything they had at them, but London overcame it, and I thought that they were really good defensively. And that's how you're going to win playoff games. You're not going to outshoot every team 40-20. You're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. It's the OHL Finals. These are the two best teams, and that's what we got here tonight.
Joel, before we get to head coach Brad Malone and Luke Torrance on the postgame from Oshawa's side, I look at one of the biggest things tonight. I know Beckett Seneca does what he does, and he's able to draw 2 more penalties, and London wasn't a fan of 2 of those, I'm sure, but he's so good at that, and he's such a talented player to be able to draw penalties like that and then be such a game breaker offensively himself. But I look at a player from London's side who needed a bounce back, and that was Landon Sim. Took 3 minor penalties in that last game, and London did a better job. I think now that they know how this series is going to be officiated, I think that they, toned it back a little bit with some of the stuff that maybe they were trying to get away with earlier in the playoffs, and I think they responded well. They didn't take 11 minors tonight. They didn't give Oshawa 9 power plays, and they were able to, only give up 1 of 3 on Oshawa after giving up 3 power play goals in the last game.
Yeah, I think they really cleaned up that part of their game, and I think there was a little bit of a uh-oh moment early in the game when Richie got the power play goal, and you can't keep letting them get those opportunities. They're too good on the power play. They continue to beat you on the power play, and you're missing Denver Barkey, who's one of your best penalty killers as well. So I think they really harnessed that after a little bit of a slow start in the discipline undisciplined factor with the Brucewicz roughing penalty, and really stuck to their game. And if they can stay out of the box, it's going to be tough for Oshawa to gain that consistent momentum. Let Richie go to work, let Barlow go to work, let all those high-end skill guys get those touches, get those power play opportunities, and really stress you out, for lack of a better term there. But I think, to your credit, Sim played a lot better of a game, +3 on the night, and really harnessed his high energy style in a productive way tonight.
London takes it 5-2. Let's hear from Oshawa Generals head coach Brad Malone, as well as Luke Torrance on being able to get a split here in London, going back home to Oshawa for games 3 and 4 next week.
Good evening. Welcome to post-game coverage of Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series here at Canada Life Place. The London Knights, winners by a score of 5-2. Joined by Oshawa Generals head coach Brad Malone, along with forward Luke Torrance. Coach, not the outcome you were looking for tonight. Big push back there in the third, though. You carried the play and the shot clock. Maybe you can share your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought we got back on our front foot after the 3-1 goal. The response that we had from there, I thought, was the way we wanted to play for the full 60 minutes. Good hockey club over there. It's necessary that we play a full 60 minutes the right way in order to get the result we want.
Luke, some of London's goals tonight, high skill goals, right? Tough to defend against. Are you guys happy to come out of games 1 and 2 with the split heading back home?
Yeah, that was the plan for us coming in here, was to take 1. We did our job, but it's a high offense team over there. We got to be ready in the D zone, and they're snapping around tonight. Ozzy stood on his head for us, but their goalie did too. So yeah.
Just questions, guys, and please wait for the microphone.
Brad, you got a split here, but do you feel like you could gain more?
Yeah, probably. When you go back and look at it, didn't think we played our best game in game one, but we got the result we were looking for. Talked about it with you. Just we need to continue to build. This is going to be a long series. It's going to be a battle, and to LT's point, we came here with the mindset of winning too. To get the split, it's a push. We'll move on.
Okay. If I can ask you about the bonk goal, like you've played hockey a long time. Is that a surprising shot from that angle? Is that a perfect shot, or what would you see on the replay?
Yeah, from a coach's standpoint, I think a little bit of a breakdown in coverage, and then just a high-end shot. Probably a goal in any league. So it's you got to tip your cap on a few of their goals. They certainly earned them. At the end of the day, we got to be better in certain areas to not allow them to get into those positions. Move on from there.
Okay, sorry, just one more. You know the history of this series from last year. Easton Cowan that was scoring like this. How do you stop him? Moving forward?
Takes a 5-man unit. He's a good hockey player. We got good hockey players on our side. I think at the end of the day, it's not about individuals. It's about the crest. It's about the team. He's very talented. We got to be aware when he's on the ice. We got to be responsible with the puck. Got to make him play defense, because when he has the puck, he's a talented hockey player.
Luke, you play with Callum Ritchie. It seems like he's really elevated his game, especially the first two games of the series. Game-winning goal last game, gets the opener today. What can you say about the way he's kind of elevated here in the biggest stage and the biggest moments for you?
He's a really talented player. It's very easy to play with. I think he shines in these moments on the big stage, and that's why he went so high in the draft.
Coach, with the extra lights, the bright lights of TSN, and the extra stoppages, do you like that it's a little bit different from what you're used to with the two regular breaks you get in the periods? Are you able to kind of go over a couple extra things, and with the extra stoppages, do you think that affects your team positive or negatively?
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing. I think the only thing I would be critical about is just if there is a TV timeout after an icing, that we allow the play to continue. You can gain a lot of momentum. A team ices a puck, and then the 2-minute buzzer goes. It kind of takes away the advantage of the no change icing. But besides that, I think it's great. Bright lights, TSN. Some of the guys were talking about the viewership from game one. I think the league's done a great job of exposing the talent at this level, and we're very fortunate to be in this situation, and for all the individuals to get this type of experience.
There were Brad Malone, head coach of the Oshawa Generals, and Luke Torrance in the postgame. Colin, what were your thoughts about what they said tonight?
Love the icing comment. I'm a big pet peeve of that, because you'll notice with teams, especially and this is props to London, props to any team that takes advantage of this. There's no rule against it. Teams that'll ice the puck close to the minute mark of a commercial break, players and teams, they know that. If you're in trouble, you're facing adversity, you're just going to dump the puck and ice it. For a team like London, they've done that for a long time, even before you could change off icings. They've done that forever, London. You get in trouble, you ice it. And I think that's one of those things that I'm glad that Brad Malone mentioned it, but I hope this is a rule that maybe next year's owners meeting and they implement it for this season coming, because it's one of those things that it's got to be changed. In a game like this with the extra commercial break, you get a lot more ice time now for your star players. You get out of jams a little bit easier. That was interesting. The penalty kill adjustment, definitely. Again, with London's penalty kill adjustment, hearing Brad Malone talk about that, having a tough time going flank to flank, cross ice. Oshawa does that so well. We saw the points more activated, passing more than shooting tonight as well, and I think that was credit to the ref too. Did a really good job in the lane. They weren't as deep, or they weren't as up. They were more deeper down low in the slot area, and you made it more one-dimensional. And when you can make a dangerous power play like Oshawa more one-dimensional, you'll tip your cap any day of the week. Those were two big takeaways from the press conference. The icing thing's the icing thing. I don't agree with it either. I agree with Brad Malone on that one to a T. I wish that wasn't a thing. But hopefully next year. We can't change it right now.
That's one thing I think the NHL has something better than the CHL as far as not being able to have TV timeouts after icings. But Joel, he mentioned that he thinks that maybe they should have had more because they got the split. But you look at their game tonight, and you can almost say that they could have taken both of these games. What did you think about what Luke Torrance and Brad Malone said about having a strong effort, just not coming away with the win tonight?
Yeah, I think that's the correct way to look at it. And I think you want to take 2 out of London. I think that would have been huge for them. But to leave with a split is still impressive in its own right, and go back home and have control of your destiny. So I also like that they mentioned Jacob Oster in the game he had. I know he gave up 4, but another really strong performance from him. And if they're going to win this series, Jacob Oster's going to have to be a star. He's going to have to continue to do what he did in game 1 and even game 2 today. He had another really solid outing. So I'm really happy they mentioned him again.
Colin, do you have anything else to add before I get to London side?
No, not much. Like I say earlier, I think analytically, I think Oshawa's going to be happy about the game. I think they'll be excited about it. I think they played a good game. I think they played better in game 2 than they did in game 1.
Here's head coach Dale Hunter has a little bit more to say tonight after London was able to win this game, as well as Easton Cowan on his record-breaking night for the London Knights. Let's hear what they had to say.
Back with more post-game coverage of Game 2 of the OHL Championship Series. The London Knights, 5-2 winners on home ice, and Easton Cowan, the first start in on all 5 goals, with 5 points to his credit, tying the London Knights franchise record for most career points in the postseason with the guy who happened to be in his stall in the dressing room a number of years ago, Rob Schremp. What's that like? A bit of a coincidence, of course, and pretty good player to follow in the footsteps of.
Yeah, it's awesome. Shrempy's been great to me. He's taught me a lot of things, so definitely really cool to, have that for sure.
Coach, a better outcome tonight, 5-2 winners, and of course the guy sitting next to you, instrumental in that. Just your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought game. Both teams are battling hard, and they're a good team, and Cowboys stepped up with a big game, and we played well defensively.
Questions? Just wait for the mic, please, guys.
Dale, Easton's tied Rob Schremp and 1 point ahead of Corey Perry. You know what those guys meant to your franchise early on. How impressed are you?
No, that's hard to do. Come playoff hockey, and that's the key to good players. They rise. You can do it during the year, which they all did, but to bring it to another level in the playoffs when the compete is really high, that's what the NHL teams are looking for, guys that play in the playoffs, and that's what these boys have been doing.
In Easton, you had some chances in game 1 that you said you wanted to bury this game. How about your response tonight? And how did you do that? What did you think after game 1, and how were you able to respond?
Yeah, obviously in game 1 I had my chances there and they didn't go in. So, next day I just kind of took care of my body, chilled a bit, and really rewatched the game. And good screen there on the goal there to get us all going there.
Coach, what worked differently for you tonight than the other night, and what do you think that the guys, how they responded after the first loss of the playoffs?
They responded well. They're committed to the team and committed to winning, and they just come back and put it behind you. And you're going to lose some games, and you just got to put it behind you and keep going.
Easton, this game's broadcasted nationwide on TSN. Maybe some extra Leaf fans watching tonight, with it being an off night for them as well. What's your message to Leaf Nation if they were watching tonight?
Yeah, obviously I want to play there in the future, but right now I'm a Knight, so hope they just see the passion I have for the game and how much I love playing it.
Does Oliver Bonk practice shooting from there? It seems like have you seen that before?
Yeah.
Or it seems like a tough angle.
It's a tough angle, and must have seen some hole there.
Okay, and talk about that goal, Easton. You had a seeing eye shot. Are you guys just trying to shoot through screens? And then, about Bonk's goal, how much space is there?
Yeah, obviously not a lot. I think maybe Radek taught him that one, maybe. I don't know, but it was a good shot. And then on mine, just like I said, just a really good screen. That's playoff hockey. Most goals are just scored with screens and getting pucks in net, and luckily went in.
There were Easton Cowan and Dale Hunter after the Knights even up the the OHL Championship Series here 1-1. Colin, what were your thoughts there? A little bit more talkative tonight from the London side after getting the victory, but what were your takeaways?
Yeah, on the OHL podcast, we like to say effect. But no, good bounce back. Good bounce all the way around, Brandon. Off ice and on ice, I guess. No, it was good. I thought that London had a good response. Maybe they deserve better fate in game one than they did in game two, but when you play the right way and you commit to defense and you play your systems, good things happen. I think that's what happened tonight. I thought that was a great one. I like the question, too, about Oliver Bonk practicing that shot and about Radek. That was pretty good. Got a good chuckle out of that one. Radek had a crafty shot in his day, too, so that was a good one.
Joel, I tried to get him to talk about, the extra eyes and the bright lights of it being on TSN and the Leafs not playing tonight, still in the playoffs. But I'm sure Leaf fans are pretty fired up from the way that he performed tonight. 5-point game and tying Rob Schrem for the all-time playoff point record. But he gave the political answer there. Didn't want to talk about himself with his head coach sitting there. But that's Easton Cowan for you. He doesn't really like to talk about himself, and said he wants to play there in the future. But right now he's still a London Knight, and the job is still to be done.
Yeah, I think games like tonight will get him there pretty quickly. So I think you're right. Obviously, with his head coach sitting over his shoulder there, and he's probably going to give you the political answer. But what a game for him, and what a way to put his team on his back and show how special of a player he is. And I think he was pretty hard on himself maybe about not getting a point in game one, and he really came to play tonight and really delivered the performance they needed out of him.
So, Colin, as we look at it, if you're Oshawa's side, you've got, again, you hate to lose this game, but you pick up a split. You're going home for a tough back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday, I will say. Not easy thing to do. They're going to get tomorrow off for Mother's Day, obviously, but then the back-to-back, and they're going to have their home crowd in front of them. But they've been in this situation 2 series in a row against Brantford and Barrie, where they didn't have home ice advantage in the series and were able to claw back and win both those series in 6 and 4, respectively. So, I mean, you've seen this Oshawa team all year long respond after losses, Colin, and it seems like Brad Malone is really getting them to buy into what he's kind of selling with them, and obviously with Mario Pouliot's experience on the bench as well as an assistant coach. Like, if you're Oshawa's side, how do you go from here trying to put your best foot forward for your home crowd on Monday?
Yeah, I don't think you change a thing. I think they played a damn good first 2 games. I thought they got better from game 1. I thought tonight they actually played better. I think that that's a good thing. I think that there's no panic there at all right now. As thank you to everyone listening as we're speaking right now. I'm sure they're on the bus with their post game meal and like nothing even happened. I mean, you're fine. It's a long series. If I'm Oshawa, I don't even think London has momentum in the series. You're coming back home tied. I don't think London even has momentum in the series right now over Oshawa. You played a good road game. You played 2 good road games. You should have, could have, would have won 2 games. They could have won 2 games. You could be up 2-0 right now. You're fine. You're feeling good. You're believing that, hey, we win game 3. We're up 2-1. We could be going back to London up 3-1. Realistically, I mean, if they play a good home game in front of their home crowd, they'll be fine. They're going to be fine. I think they're actually excited. Rest the body. That's important. Get your treatment for those who need treatment. But right now, you're fine. It's a long series. Series are their own seasons on their own. That's the best part about playoff hockey. They're fine. I don't think they have to change a thing. I think that everything that they do, maybe shoot lower. They sailed a couple shots, but that's nitpicking, man. If I'm picking on shots when they get a ton of shots, they love to shoot the puck, and you can tell that's the message right from their head coach. When they get the puck over the blue line, they're looking to shoot. But if other than that, I mean, I'd like to see them shoot lower, shoot to the pads. You sail a couple up high. Maybe you're aiming too high, right? You get the adrenaline going. You sail a few. I used to love that as a goalie, but maybe shoot a little lower. Create rebounds, create some jam around the net, but of Austin Elliott. But I think they're fine. I don't think they have to change a thing.
Yeah, Joel, I look at the shots. Seneca off the crossbar. Griffin in the second period had a glorious chance in the slot. Nobody around him missed the net. And then they really tried to hit Colby Barlow a lot on the power play, especially on that right dot. Like I look at him tonight. He had like 4 or 5 real good opportunities, and they keep trying to find him on that spot. And that's obviously what's made him a Winnipeg Jets first round selection. But from your perspective, like as far as what Colin's talking about there, if you're Oshawa, how do you kind of turn those shots and opportunities into ones that are in the back of the net?
Yeah, I think you look at the video, right, and that's what those coaches are so good at is finding that, and going back to Colin's point is the analytics, right, and diving into where you can beat goalies, how you can beat goalies, and these guys are world class at that. And I think to your point about going home, they haven't lost at home since the first round of the playoffs, so they got to be feeling really confident in that, getting the line matchups they want on home ice. And then to Colin's point as well, just going back to the video, looking at how they can execute those shots where they can try to beat Austin Elliott and rest the body up and play 3 games in 4 days. It's going to be a battle, but from their side, they're going to be on home ice, which I think will be a huge benefit.
Got really two really good goalies on both sides with Oster and Austin Elliott, who still only lost 2 games all season long, and Oster being the goaltender of the year the last year. Colin, what are I'll get your final thoughts on just what we've seen from the first 2 games of the series. And we heard, quickly, sorry to interrupt, but Jack Moore, the voice of the Oshawa Generals, keeps saying that this club and Brad Malone and even the players that were here last year don't even want to talk about the series last year because there's new 100%. Players, it's a new mindset. They got swept last year in the finals, and they really don't even like to talk about it because they use it, they think about it, but they put it away in the closet and don't really think about it. And they've shown that this is going to be a completely different series already through 2 games.
Man, they're a different team than last year. They're not even the same team as last year. That's why I don't get when people ask about last year all the time. I'm thinking, as a player, you hate it, and flat out, it to hear that. But they're a different team. You watch them compared to last year to this year. They're a different team. That's 2 coaches ago for the Generals last year already. I think that my overall thoughts on the series, I think it's going to be rough in Game 3. I think Monday night's going to be the most physical we've saw, and I know it's starting to get physical. We saw the Game 1 before the game in warm-ups, a little how you doing there at the center ice, see how the family's doing in a physical manner, or a vocal manner, I guess. But I think that you watch the end of the game in Game 2, and you see Ryder Bolton out there finishing a couple checks. That's to send a message. And I really do. I would wonder if Oshawa dresses O'Toole for Game 3. I would wonder if we see an O'Toole appearance. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but I can see it being a physical game. It's the playoffs, and that's the best part about the playoffs. I know Joel, being a Philly fan, me being a Red Wing fan, Brandon, you being a Buffalo fan, the NHL.
Thanks for reminding me.
You see the tough guys in the playoffs, right? Our organizations, they thrive off that. So I think that's I expect to see a little bit of a physical appearance, especially from the London standpoint. You're on the road, right? You're out of your home arena now. How are you going to find a way? We saw them do this before. I expect it to be a rough physical game. We saw the message sending at the end of Game 2 here tonight. I expect there to be a physical appearance right from the get-go then on Monday night. I'm pumped. I can't wait.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a scrum at the end of the game, but still no tilts through the first 2 games of the series, which has been London's calling card. Colin, you've seen teams over the years, but even in this playoff run, we haven't seen any of that.
Well, now with the instigator, too, it's too big. It's too big a moment. You can't be giving up instigator penalties like that. But I expect, though, I would expect, and we talked about it on the OHL and 60 podcast previewing the series, O'Toole Bolton. It's hard not to talk about that matchup, 2 guys that play the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
It'd be a heavyweight matchup. I think a lot of us would at least like to see once. Joel, I'll give you final words before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. The series has been what I think when we came into it. I think it's kind of what we wanted to see, 2 balanced teams, especially after last year with the sweep, seeing how Oshawa would respond. And I agree with them, just putting that to the back burner, not even thinking about it, and going to work. And I think as this series shifts now to Oshawa, it's gonna be good to see how they respond now to a loss. And their last 2 games on home ice, they scored 8 goals, they scored 7 goals. So it's getting those matchups for them. It's getting those big guys engaged. And I think for London, you gotta continue to do what you did tonight. You really have to stay disciplined on the road. You can't let those power play opportunities for the other team haunt you again. So I think both teams have seen things they've liked through the first 2 games. They've seen things they haven't liked. So now it's to your guys' points, going back, looking over video, looking at what you like. And as the series goes, it's going to get tighter, it's going to get better, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
Both teams got a feel, and now it's a best of 5, gentlemen. So you can essentially say that. Going back to Oshawa on Monday and Tuesday, programming alert for those that are going to be wondering about our post games for games 3 and 4. We're going to put those both into a episode on Wednesday night because of the late nights on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to record programming alert on Wednesday after games 3 and 4 in Oshawa, and we'll see where the series is at that point, going back to London for game 5 on Thursday night, which we know will be a thing. So Oshawa takes the first game of the series before London fights back tonight with a 5-2 victory on home ice. And again, thanks to Colin Ward and Joel Vanderlaan for staying on for the late night. Thank you to those who listened live tonight on YouTube and those the next day in your favorite on-demand audio platform. Again, this has been another OHL Roundtable Posse episode right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, part of the OHL Overtime and OHL in 60 podcast collaboration here in the playoffs. Gentlemen, thanks so much. And to those listening, we'll talk to you again Wednesday night following Game 4 of the OHL Championship. Oshawa takes Game 1. London takes Game 2. We're tied 1 apiece going back to Oshawa on Monday. Have a good night.